I'm Mark Diano.
And I'm Desiree Hadley, and welcome to another episode of Hold the Line with Mayor J. Baraka. Hi, Mayor. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
So today we're going to talk about the new initiatives that the city has put in place to combat homelessness. We're going to have a COVID check-in, of course, and the land bank program and how it relates to home ownership in the city, and state of the water. Mark, you want to lead with the homelessness question?
Sure. Mayor, back in the mid-2000s when the homicide rate was triple digits, you led a coalition of people to make violence a national health epidemic. Do you see homelessness going in the same direction? Do you see it as a national health epidemic?
Sure. I think that, given you're in the richest country in the world with the most resources, there's about 500,000 people as they count around the world who are homeless. I really don't, in a perspective of things, I really don't think that's a lot, and that the country with a national strategy could really deal with that, and it's been left really up to local municipalities, not even states. This is just left up to the local municipality to do what they can. And it's an intractable issue that we've been grappling with, because the more resources you provide, the more people gravitate towards your community as well. So not only are we taking care of the homeless of Newark, the residents with our address in Newark, we're taking care of the people throughout the county as well.
You see this especially like in Denver and San Francisco and places like that where, people go there for a certain thing and then they stay. And I guess the same thing is true here, and especially with, our population of people that are addicts that come from other counties. Drugs are here, they become homeless here, that kind of thing.
Even around COVID, because we had hotels, we offered services, and so people came to be a part of that. And they came and they stayed. They get a municipal ID, and they wind up staying in Newark because we have those services that other people don't have. And other folks don't understand that. So they're saying, oh, we got rid of homelessness in our town. That's because they all came to Newark, And, we're dealing with it.
So I want to talk about some of the newer initiatives that's been put into place the last couple of weeks. So you have Newark Hope Village, which is the repurposing of shipping containers into basically to homes for residents who need a place to stay. And then you have the Miller Street Pathways Housing Center, which is the repurposing of the old Miller Street School. And it's being repurposed into a transitional emergency housing service. So my question is, how will these housing initiatives better serve the homeless population who may sometimes not trust sheltering facilities or don't feel comfortable staying in those type of facilities?
So yeah, the Miller Street shelter is for people who want a shelter, and it provides 24/7 sheltering with all kind of wraparound services that most shelters don't provide, like all of the services, and an opportunity to transition into transitional housing, into permanent housing. That's with all of our programs now. And so the shelter is one piece, right? And those are people who won't mind going into shelters. The container home idea is for the hard to shelter population. Those are for the people you see by Penn Station, under the bridge. And so people always say, well, why you don't do nothing about the people under the bridge? Well, you do. We have outreach services. You go there, they refuse to come. And they have a right to say no, right? They have a right to say, I'm not going there. And most of the time they don't. You have families out there, you have people out there, and they're used to that, being on their own without any real regulation, and have to deal with all of the kind of systemic things that are attached with being in a shelter. So it's more of an independent kind of living opportunity that you want to give them, and give them the access to drug treatment, mental health treatment, all the other kind of things, and then transition them out through vouchers so they can have permanent housing. So that's the idea with the container homes.
That's a really interesting point that, when you are introducing people that don't want to be in a system to a system, that's what they're running away from.
Yeah.
And so how do you gently bring them into something that they don't feel as invasive to their privacy?
Yeah, and it's not helping them either. It's just keeping them in the cycle of that. And so it doesn't provide the safety. And so they rather them being that. Obviously everybody wants to be in a safe and sheltered environment, but if they can't have that, they might pitch a tent under the bridge.
All right, so let's move on to the COVID check-in. And I know right now in Newark people are getting vaccinated, but we're still practicing COVID safety measures, wearing masks and socially distancing. You recently got your vaccination. You revealed that on your Facebook Live. Talk about how you feel and everything. So where are we now when it comes to defeating COVID as a city, and where do you see us in about 3 months from now?
So we're in a very moderate place in terms of COVID. And I say moderate because we're not as high as we started, and even not as high as when we sounded the alarm the second time, right? So we're not as low as we want to be. We have a 3-day average positivity rate of about 9%, a 7-day positivity average of about 10%, right? We want to go below those numbers. If we continue to do that, if we could go below that, then we can begin doing other things. I know people want us to do what everybody else is doing in Texas and Georgia, but I think that is completely ridiculous, because at the end of the day, the closer you get to the finish line, the faster you run. You don't slow down at the finish line. So I think it's important for us to stay focused and vigilant, and that's what we're doing. And I think it's helped us over time. And it's probably amazing the amount of lives that we've probably saved in this process, In terms of me, I took the vaccine, the second dose Monday at 8:30 a.m. I went about my day regularly. I didn't feel anything till about 8:45 p.m., about 12 hours later. I felt a little chill, which wasn't unbearable. I went to sleep and woke up and I was exhausted. I had the pain in my arm from the shot, but I was exhausted the next day. Like I worked out and didn't eat food. And I probably should have stayed home, and I didn't. So I had a day. I fought through the day. I did what I was supposed to do. I had a 2-hour interview, did all kinds of things that evening, and went to bed very late. This morning I'm feeling all of that, that I stayed up too late, number one. Two, I didn't give my body a chance to recover from the vaccine, so I still feel tired, still feel a little exhausted. And a slight chill. Other than that, there's nothing that you can't, get through. It's like maybe like if you have a cold and you come to work anyway instead of staying home and just relaxing. That's how I feel. I probably should have stayed home yesterday and just, watched some Netflix and relaxed.
Mayor, from the very outset of COVID, you've had to manage a city that has other ideas and rules coming in from the state, other stuff. Now you have the CDC saying, if you have a vaccination and you're around people with vaccinations, you don't have to wear masks. Now that's getting out there. This is in the public now. So what do you say to the residents here when they say to you, CDC says, I don't have to wear a mask if I have a vaccination, blah, blah, blah.
Well, go get your vaccine. That's what I tell people. Go get your vaccine if that's what you want to do. But they also say only be around people who've also been vaccinated, which makes sense. Obviously because the virus has nowhere to go, and that's the purpose of taking vaccines. And so even when the argument is, should I take Johnson & Johnson versus this versus that? I told one of my friends that, obviously if you take Johnson & Johnson and everybody else is taking this other thing, you still not only have the immunity from that, but if everybody else is vaccinated, then what you're doing is preventing the virus, the opportunity to have a host from going place to place. So it doesn't matter the 94, the 70, the 90, the level, as long as the vaccine is working, and you're around other people that's been vaccinated, the virus has nowhere to go host, have no host for it to live. So people need to take it, that way we can get rid of it, ultimately.
I guess the issue is, as you said before, when you're this close to the finish line, you run faster. So the idea that, well, I have a vaccination, and I think those people are vaccinated too, so I'm going to take the mask off. And wouldn't it be more prudent to say, let's have a period where we still are masked
Sure.
up until the population is vaccinated at 75, 80, 90%?
I agree. We should, and I wear my mask still. So you should wear your mask. I think it's important because you still can be a carrier. It's important to wear the mask, and I think that's going to be a part of our culture. In many countries around the world, wearing a mask is a part of their daily living. I think from now on, people Certain people are going to wear masks in movie theaters. They're going to wear masks on public transportation. They're going to wear masks on airplanes. They're going to do that. I'll probably be one of those people one way or another, but people are going to do that. Because now you're just thinking of, wow, all of this time I did all this stuff, all of the germs that was flying around, and I just was never cognizant of it. This virus make you very, very acutely aware of all of the pathogens that are in the air.
Yeah, in fact, the flu season was much better
More
than
controlled.
ever before.
It was, yeah.
Because people were,
Masks,
cognizant.
washing hands, doing
Yeah.
all the regular stuff.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. All right, so the Newark Land Bank is a program or a online system where people can go, find homes, purchase properties, and things of that nature, right? So for certain Newark residents who might not see home ownership in their future because of maybe financial reasons or just it never was something that they thought they can do, how can they benefit from the Newark Land Bank database that they have, that the Invest Newark has now recently launched and put into place as a resource for people looking to buy property owned by the
Yeah,
city?
I would tell people to get on the website and look at the various programs they have and match yourself with something that would be helpful to you. I know the city has a first-time home buyers opportunity as well that you can engage in. The land is and the properties are a lot cheaper than what it would be if you went on to the city's auction and tried to buy it against speculators. It is easier to get without going through the bureaucracy of city government, taking people a year and a half to actually get property. I know people don't have that money to sit on for that long, so it's a better opportunity for people, and it's a chance for us to make affordability persistent in specific areas of the city. So it gives us a chance to drive prices down, allow the land value to be cheaper, the mortgage to be cheaper, so people can actually own property in those communities. So, and these are very deliberate programs. So I would tell people to go to Invest Newark website and look at all of the programs that they have available and see which one matches you, and then call and get some advice from the people there to help you walk you through the process.
Mayor, with a city that has 75% renters, you have, and by the way, Newark has always had a huge number of renters, even historically. Even back in like the 1900s and stuff, early 1900s. So you have a culture of, well, we don't own homes, we just rent. There's a renter's mentality. You talk all the time about home owning as a way to build wealth and those kind of values. How do you change that culture? Like, not just with the program, but making people believe they can access the program and they deserve to own a home.
Yeah, well, you just got, I think the first part of it is to make it affordable and give people the access to it and talk to them about it, which is what we're doing. Then the other side of that, because we had the whole climb report about the gap in affordable housing, when we always talk about affordability, we always talk about making the housing affordable. We never talk about lifting people's wages so that they're able to compete in this economy. And so on the flip side of that, we also have to be pushing to get wage increases for people because if the cost of living increases, people's wages have to increase with it, right? And that has not happened. And that's a part of the problem that we have.
All right, we have a minute left, and as many of the people out there may know, Newark is up, close to the finish line for the lead service replacement program here in Newark.
Yeah.
And we're, just about at our goal. So for Newarkers who would want more information about the state of Newark's water, what can they do to find that out?
Well, we're actually having on Thursday, a State of the Water event, and you could probably go to the city's Facebook page live, and you can watch the State of the Water event, and I'll probably answer most of the questions that you have. I would do that immediately, and if you can't do that, you can obviously reach out to the water department and they can give you information. But I would strongly suggest that this Thursday evening, you tune in to either NJPAC's website, Newark City of Newark's Facebook page, or Channel 78, and listen to all of the presentations that we're going to be giving around the water in the city.
All right, Mayor, thank you.
Mayor, that's all the time we have today for this edition of Hold the Line. Thanks very much.
Thanks everyone for watching. Bye. Thanks, Mayor.